coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Diet Coke. You're going to drink it just for the taste of it. Federal Express, the best way to ship it over there. And by Allstate, for home, auto, and life insurance. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Back here at Pontiac, Michigan, where the Phoenix Cardinals lead the Detroit Lions 6-3 at the halftime. Dick Stockton along with Dan Fouts. And Dan, when you played, you were great at finishing drives, getting in the end zone for the 6 points. And so far we have seen the Cardinals stall in the Lions in preseason. What does it take to go in and get that touchdown?
Well, it's really a belief that you can do it, number one, but it also takes big plays by big play players. You got to have the catch in the end zone. You got to have the great run. You got to have great pass blocking or maybe a great throw. Right now there's a lot of uncertainty from both teams in that department.
Cardinals look like they were coming on in the second quarter. What do you see from maybe the Lions offensively in the second?
Well, I want to see Barry Sanders, number one. I think that he'll give them the lift that they need, the spark that they need. They're not doing anything since that first quarter.
All right, let's take a look now at the halftime statistics. As Barry Sanders is primed in case his number is called. Detroit has the edge on the ground, the Cardinals in the air and overall. But look at the difference in the total plays between the first and second quarter. Almost like two different games, and on the board, not much scoring, and Phoenix has the lead 6-3.
And Hogaboom really looks smooth now. He had a rocky start, bad field position, but he got settled down there. He threw the ball very well, and the Cardinals moved the ball down the field. But the big play at the end of the first half was the roughing the penalty against Terry Taylor that gave the ball back to the Cardinals and gave them the chance to go down and get 3 more points.
There's Barry Sanders. We had a chance to talk to him. What were your impressions? I mean, he's not a big guy, but he seems powerful. The derriere seems to be where the power comes from.
Well, he's got great legs, too. Those thighs are as big as my well, not as big as my waist, as big as I would like my waist to be, perhaps. But he is a very powerful young man, very humble, too. He made a lot of money there in a very short amount of time. You know what he went out and bought with his first paycheck? A Japanese car. Does he know that?
I love that here.
Does he know that his owner makes an American-style car?
He has enough money to buy several of them, and hopefully some of them will be American cars. But his parents are here. Barry Sanders, of course, the Heisman Trophy winner, and who decided to forego his senior year. And actually, when you look at the Lions offense and how much they need him, is that the Lions scored last year 16 touchdowns fewer than what Barry Sanders scored in his junior year at Oklahoma State.
That's an amazing statistic. And with this offense, once he gets comfortable and once he gets in shape, football shape that is, he'll score a lot of touchdowns for the Detroit Lions.
Cardinals will receive, however, as we start the second half. Gene Stallings told us last night, he says, we might have lost 5 games at the end of last year to finish 7-9. As Sikahema lines up along with Ernie Jones. Sikahema on the left, Jones on the right. Rubbing the ball up again is Murray, as he did when the game started.
As if he needs it. He's got one of the strongest legs in all of football, but what that does, it just gives him a little bit better feel for the ball, and he'll really send it.
He's accounted for the 3 points for the Lions. Del Greco with 2 field goals for the Cardinals. By Sikahema at the 5. Works his way up to the 27-yard line. Carl Painter making the tackle. So Gary Hogaboom, who was 10 of 17 for 127 yards. He has had his injury problems in the past, and he's taking over for Neil Lomax, who is upstairs. He was working on the field before the game, so the specter of Lomax still exists for the Cardinals, who are starting really a new era with Hogaboom and Tom Tupa backing him up. First down on the 27 for the Cardinals. Stump Mitchell gets the call, finds a hole up the middle, and is stopped by William White, and he prevented Mitchell from getting a first down. The tackle at the 35.
You talked about the injury problems that Hogaboom has had. He's dislocated this right elbow 3 times. And for a quarterback, that is really tough to overcome. But he wears that sleeve, gives him a little bit of warmth, and you know how he dislocated a couple times trying to make a tackle after interceptions.
2nd and 2. That 8-yard run was the longest of the day for the Cardinals. Stump Mitchell gets hit, but not before he gets first down yardage beyond the 40-yard line. So they go with Mitchell here on the first 2 plays. There's Neil Lomax in the middle. He has that arthritic hip, not going to play this year, maybe never again in his career. And what are your thoughts of his presence here with Phoenix?
Well, I like the fact that he's up in the booth. He's away from the players, because when he's on the field, the players are looking at him and wondering, well, what if? What if Neil could play? And that's not the proper situation. They've got to direct all their attention to, hey, Gary Hogaboom is our quarterback now.
Does he like mustard and relish on his hot dog? I don't know that. 1st and 10 at the 42 of the Cardinals. Again, they go to Mitchell. He's carried the ball 3 straight times and gets tripped up and is stopped short of midfield. Chris Spielman on the stop. The word on Earl Farrell: he has an injured left ankle, and he is out for the game. Meanwhile, Eric Williams is shaken up for the Lions, their starting defensive left end. So Farrell is lost for the game, and we'll take a timeout as the Lions defense has a man down. We'll be back.
And Land on this ankle, this is either an ankle injury or a knee injury to the left leg, and Williams is still down.
He'll be replaced by Curtis Green. Saints lead the Cowboys in Jimmy Johnson's debut 21-0 at halftime. The Colts are giving the 49ers a run 13-10 in the 3rd quarter inside in Indianapolis. Rams in Atlanta are at halftime with LA leading 17-14. Cincinnati and Chicago at Soldier Field are all tied 7-7. Also at the half, Tampa Bay ahead of Green Bay 20-7. Tampa Bay was impressive in preseason, and they've kept it going into the first game of this regular season.
That's a bit of a surprise, playing up there in Green Bay, that Tampa Bay comes out with such a big lead.
This is the first game of the year. We've had a couple of injuries. Earl Farrell is gone for the game, and Eric Williams is trying to see what his problem is. We have not had any turnovers, which could mark an early game. No turnovers by either team, but we have had 10 penalties in the game and a player ejected. Joe Malinchak was ejected, and I think he is still on the sidelines. We'll see the guy with smoke coming up from his head. We'll know that it's Malinchak who is ejected in a kind of a controversial call.
Well, it was. You've seen a lot of chop blocks and a lot of clips almost in every game, and he came down and clipped Bob Clasby in a very flagrant and cheap shot type of fashion. No need for him to do it. The referee tossed him out of the game.
He did leave the field, so he's not there anymore. I want to remind you, coming up next on CBS Sports, it's the men's final of the U.S. Open. Yvonne Lendl against Boris Becker. Since it starts at 4 o'clock Eastern time, I'm sure Lendl played his golf earlier today instead of after the day. He always plays golf as well as tennis, and Boris Becker, a very tough foe for him in the men's final. Eric Hipple, who is the only other quarterback on the roster right now, along with Bob Galliano. If they need one, Jim Arnold, the punter, could be pressed into service, although Arnold told us yesterday he doesn't want any of that.
No, in fact, Arnold being a punter, he wouldn't mind taking the entire day off. You know, that's one thing I always wanted to tell my punter, to make him assured that our offense was going to do well. I would tell him, hey, why don't you take the rest of the day off? You're not going to have to punt today. But Arnold's already kicked a couple of times, so that's not the case.
And he's kicked well. So Williams, in his 6th year out of Washington State, who's been a mainstay along the defensive line, is out. Curtis Green, number 62, in there. 2nd down and 4 for the Cardinals on their 48. Wolfley, the first back in, and Ron Wolfley is close to the first down yardage into Lion territory. And the other Williams, Jimmy Williams, the linebacker, making the stop on Wolfley.
Well, this is a big part of the Cardinal game plan coming into this game, is they wanted to establish the run to control the ball on the ground. They only ran the ball for about 6 yards in the entire first half. They've yet to throw a pass here in the second half.
Phoenix has rushed for 25 yards already on this drive after 6 yards rushing in the first minute. Mitchell going wide. Koper and Benny Blades forced the play and a loss of about 5 yards back into Cardinal territory. So Koper makes his presence felt for the first time. Blades has been doing it all game long.
Well, with the addition of Benny Blades last year to this defense, with his great speed, very tough to run outside against him. Also, Koper is one of the fastest linebackers in all of the game. So you're not going to make a whole lot of money going wide against the Lions. They lost 2 yards that time. Where the Cardinals are most effective running the ball is between the tackles with their big fullback Farrell and Wolfley and Mitchell.
Second down and 13 after the loss. Back to the Cardinal 49. Here's the time remaining in the third quarter. Still 6-3 Phoenix. Hogaboom. He has Wolfley, the fullback, out of bounds. And hit hard as he went out of bounds by Benny Blades. That's the way he plays football, whether it's the sideline or middle of the field.
He really delivered a blow that time. And, that's what he's all about.
Brian Blades, of course, his brother, did not get burdened with the kind of name that Benny did.
Well, Benny is older, and he was the first one named. I asked him, here you are, Benny. Your name is Horatio Benedict. What did your parents name your brother Brian? He said Brian Keith.
He's the wide receiver for Seattle. They played against each other a couple of times. Third down and 6 on the Lion 44. Hogaboom has J.T. Smith, and I think Smith has the first down. Let's see where they spot it. The forward yardage should be enough for him, and I think it is. Another reception by Smith. Making the play was Jerry Holmes.
And this is a real controversial mark by this referee here on the far side. Hogaboom showing a lot of poise after this first quarter got through, where he didn't complete anything. He's been on the mark ever since. That was a very questionable mark by the referee.
Those are the numbers by Hogaboom so far. He's played within himself, 12 for 19, 141 yards, and 6 catches by J.T. Smith for 71 yards. First and 10 on the 37 of the Lions. Stump Mitchell. He got by Gibson, the inside linebacker, and picked up some extra yardage to the 31, short of a first down by about 3.5 yards. Jimmy Williams made the tackle for the Lions with help from Terry Taylor, the cornerback.
Well, Williams is a guy that was either going to get cut this year or traded. Indianapolis Colts were very interested for a short period of time. Sometimes the best trades are the ones that aren't made. The guy playing ahead of Jimmy Williams was George Jameson. Well, he's out with an ankle injury. Lions are lucky they didn't make the trade or cut Jimmy Williams.
Lions' best part of their defense is the linebacking spot, without question. Second and 4. Mitchell, short of a first down by about 1.5 yards as the Lions closed. Chris Spielman. Here's another guy, Spielman, who's had a sprained ankle. He's been like a caged animal, not getting a chance to play much in preseason. He's out of Ohio State and an overachiever, and really one of those ferocious guys.
Well, and when you talk about players to their coaches, and you have a coach describe a certain player as a piece of work, as linebacker coach Woody Woodenhofer told me about Spielman, you know you got something special here. A piece of work, he called it.
I never heard of a player called that before. Third down and 2 on the 30. Wolfley flagged down. Wolfley will have the first down unless the penalty is against the Cardinals, and it may be. He may have a legal motion.
Illegal motion, right guard, third down.
That's Lance Smith.
Well, that time the Cardinals went on a longer count and sent Roy Green in motion, and Lance Smith was just a little quick getting off. Let's take a look at it. There he is, his head sticking up above the rest of the linemen. He gets down too late, never got set at the line of scrimmage.
Cardinals had the first down, but the penalty nullifies it, so they send it back to the 35-yard line, where it'll be third down and 7. Gene Stallings, Tom Tupa, Jim Schaffner. They're the penalty stories, 11 for nearly 100 yards. Lawrence Peete, the 5th-round pick out of Nebraska, a rookie now in the defensive line, number 96. Out of the shotgun is Hogaboom. Hogaboom's pass. Holmes can't make the interception. Ernie Jones was the intended receiver, and it was Holmes. Ernie Holmes was quite a player, wasn't he? With the Pittsburgh. Woody Wittenhauer will remember him. Anyway, Holmes made a terrific play over there for the Lions.
Really did. That ball was up in the air for it seemed like an eternity as Jerry Holmes looked for it, couldn't quite make the interception.
Remember Fats Holmes? He played against Fats a couple of times.
Is that the guy with the arrow that was cut into his haircut there? He told me one time to quit running around out there. I quit for about 14 years.
Jerry Woods is back. Rich Camarillo punting. He wants to keep it in the field. Fair catch called for. And it is down at the 10 by Jerry Woods. So the Lions have their chance, trailing 6-3 when we return.
Giving a new meaning to the silver stretch, Sensible style. I can only say that because they're both very good gentlemen, friends of mine. I hope. Still,
at least you were. First down on the 10. This is the worst starting field position for the Lions all day. Trailing 6-3. Bob Galliano. And that's dropped by Chadwick. Now the crowd getting on the Lion receivers. They've dropped a few today.
So has Jeff Chadwick. He's dropped a few, and that ball was right in his hands. My question is, why are you wearing gloves? If you can't trust the feel of your own fingers against the pigskin, then you've got problems as a wide receiver. He's got these gloves on. They got some tackiness to the inside, but I believe that you've got to trust your own feelings in your own fingers.
It's tacky to wear gloves indoors, in other words. Meanwhile, the crowd, you know, at the end of the first half when the Lions went to the dressing room, the crowd started chanting Barry, Barry, and we've heard it again here in this third quarter. 2nd and 10. Mobley, one of the slot backs, is in motion. Galliano being chased by Freddie Joe Nunn, running for his life. Diving to the 21, good enough for a first down for the Lions. 11-yard gain, and waiting in the wings on the sideline is Barry Sanders. Signed a $9 million contract plus, the highest paid Lion in history.
Wearing number 20, Billy Sims' old number. We asked him about whether he requested that number or not, and here he's coming up to Fonts.
You'll hear the cheer. It'll be the next play, perhaps. First down on the 21. Galliano's been the leading rusher today for the Lions. Here is Tony Page. Flag is down, maybe holding as Page gets to the 24-yard line. A gain of a couple. It was Ken Harvey, Cardinal linebacker, on the tackle.
Holding, number 65.
Eric Andolsek, the left guard. By the way, the other guard is Ken Dalafor. He came in for Milichak, who was ejected.
And what this penalty does, two things. It moves the Lions back, but it also keeps this guy on the bench. If they had made a anyway half decent gain there, we might have seen Sanders.
So the crowd hoping that the Lions get better field position so that Barry Sanders can make his NFL debut.
You sure they're not yelling Darryl, Darryl? Are we in Boston? Are they yelling at Darryl Strawberry again?
Or Darryl Rogers, the former coach here. I don't think they're saying that. First down and 20. Back to the 11. Galliano going deep. He was going for Mobley, who was double covered by Mack and Michael Zordich. That'll bring up third down, or second down and 20.
You know, the Cardinals secondary is doing a wonderful job of sticking with these little quick receivers. Being down on the field before the game, I felt that the Cardinal defensive backs might have trouble because they're so big and physical looking. Whereas you look at the little tiny wide receivers, all these guys 5'9" and 5'7" of the Lions, I felt that these guys have got an advantage because of their size and quickness.
Well, Richard Johnson told us yesterday, he says, I think it's an advantage being 5'8".
Yeah, he feels that he can get off the bump and run on the line of scrimmage, but what they're not doing is getting open down the field.
Carl Painter, number 26 in the back. There's the stretch from the end zone on second down and 1 million, and Painter picks up a couple. So it'll be third and long. We came very close to seeing Barry Sanders come in the field, but there was a penalty, and he has to now wait a while. Cardinal defensive unit with Harvey in there as a pass rusher along with Nunn. They've improved that department. Their linebackers are superb with all number ones, and the problem has always been the cornerbacks, and Galliano obviously trying to take advantage of that today, but Carter and Cedric Mack have played well.
Well, and the pressure that the Cardinals are giving Galliano is really good pressure. They're not letting him get outside. The defensive ends are getting up the field and containing him.
Third and 17. Galliano has thrown 6 straight incompletions. He has Has that to Mel Gray. Needs some open room. Gets by McDonald. Mel Gray, first down and more. 30-yard gain. And Mel Gray made it happen himself. Roland Mitchell on the stop.
This is a look from the end zone. Now, Mel Gray is a great kick returner and a great punt returner. This is that type of ability being shown here. He's going completely away from the flow and uses great speed to outrun the cornerback and get down and get that first down. And now, again, we hear the Barry cheer. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not in there real soon.
Well, they're out of jail there as far as the field position is concerned. The first down on the Lion 44. He may be coming in real soon. Galliano's pass. Incomplete, intended for Johnson. And you'll hear the eruption. There it is. For a Barry Sanders in his debut.
Well, they told us about a little play action pass where they'll fake the ball to him on the run and maybe go up top.
Let's see. 2nd and 10 on the 44.
But again, the 30-second clock ran down and almost ran out before Galliano was forced to call a timeout.
A timeout called. So Barry Sanders just wants to run one play. That's all. Then he'll go from there.
They stunned USC. Now they'll try to topple Colorado. The season premiere of college football on CBS Sports next Saturday.
Lions have used a timeout, but Barry Sanders would like to duplicate what his namesake Deion Sanders did in his first NFL appearance. A 68-yard punt return for a touchdown, and here he is. 2nd and 10. Lions on their 44. Cardinals lead 6-3. There's the play action. Galliano. And we're going to have a flag down. Jason Phillips was interfered with. Michael Zordich, and it'll be first down. You called it.
Pass interference, number 38, first down.
Well, everybody expected Sanders to get the ball. This is a great call. Little fake here. Sanders getting out of the way. And now a fine pass. And Zordich going up over the top. Just got too much helmet of Jason Phillips that time. Jason Phillips, only 5'7", was tall enough that time to get the call for the pass interference.
But the Lions have a first down on the Cardinal 29 with 5:25 to go in the third quarter. Phillips goes in motion. Here's Sanders with his first carry. Listen to him.
Well, you talk about restoring the roar. Barry Sanders does it in one carry, 18-yarder. And if he isn't running backwards when he makes contact, he may go into the end zone. Watch this. Roland Mitchell grabs him with his back turn.
And that 18-yard run is the longest of the game. 1st and 10, just beyond the 10-yard line. Sanders gets maybe a yard or two. This 40,000 crowd, or whatever they are, we did not get the official attendance figures yet. Sounds as if there are 70,000 here.
They're very excited, and they were on their feet for that last play to get a better look at Barry Sanders.
In his NFL debut, Barry Sanders, who just signed the other day, comes into the game with 5:32 to go in the third quarter, and on his first carry gets 18 yards for the Detroit Lions.
That was a yawn of anxiety right there.
Yeah. He's not tired or bored. That's for sure. I
don't think so.
2nd and 8. Richard Johnson in motion. Again, Sanders inside the 5. It'll be 3rd and short. But already you can tell that Barry Sanders looks like he's a runner.
This is what the Lions want to do when they get inside the 20-yard line. They want to run the ball. They weren't successful on their first drive. They had to settle for a field goal. But now they've got a back that they feel can get him in that end zone.
And look how all of them just hit his helmet. They're giving him all the encouragement in the world. I mean, he spent yesterday after practice with Dave Levy going over the plays, going over the film. They can still get a first down without scoring on 3rd and 3. Sanders. Touchdown.
From the end zone, Barry Sanders is going to shake off 2 tackles here. Here's Mike Zordich. He's no match, and now he's into the end zone. 4 carries in a row, and Sanders is in for his first touchdown. This is just beautiful to watch. Great power there. And now he knows exactly how to get into that pay dirt.
It has been years since the Detroit crowd has been this excited about the Lions, and Barry Sanders has given them a shot in the arm. It is 9-6. Eddie Murray, out of Jim Arnold's hold, will try to give the Lions a 10-6 lead. He does. Barry Sanders averaged 7 yards a carry, and William Clay Ford applauds with the rest of the throng and stands with them as well. The Silverdome is still buzzing over the debut of Barry Sanders, who has given the Detroit Lions a 10-6 lead with 3:01 to go in the 3rd quarter. A 3-yard touchdown run on his first series. Bob Galliano, the quarterback, who engineered it. The kickoff by Murray. Back deep is Jones and Sikahema. Sikahema at the goal line. Takes it out to the 22-yard line. Keith Karpinski on the stop. It was a 9-play, 90-yard scoring drive, and it was Barry Sanders' 18-yard run that set it up, and tremendous excitement in what has always been a great sports town, Dan, and all they want is a team with enthusiasm and a team that has a chance to win.
Well, they're on a roll, this town. You know, their basketball team didn't do too poorly this year either.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, and Sanders is going to make sure that this Lion football team gives these fans something to cheer. We got a penalty against the Cardinals, so everything's going right for the Lions at this point.
But keep in mind, it's going right, but it's still a close game at 10-6. First down at the 12. Ron Wolfley has been at fullback. Earl Farrell was injured in the first half. Stump Mitchell runs into his own man, and a loss back to the 9. Jerry Holmes. During our timeout, Wayne Fonts came over to talk to his rookie Barry Sanders.
Mitchell on the run. Stopped by Jerry Holmes.
Encouraging him, telling him what he might do, and of course, as we said before the game, they were going to use him if the game were close, and they couldn't have put him in at a better time.
Well, and Fonts is a motivational type of coach. He knows what he wants to do with his football team, and he gave his team and this crowd a great lift by putting Sanders in the game during that drive.
6 defensive backs in for the Lions on 2nd and 13. Hogaboo, J.T. Smith. Smith tackled at the 19-yard line. Will bring up 3rd and about 4. The one thing that Gene Stallings told us last night, he says the problem will be, can we come from behind? We knew that when we had Neil Lomax, we were able to do it. Not so sure about Gary Hogaboom, so a lot of questions could be answered now.
Well, they are behind, and the great thing about Lomax was that ability. It's an intangible type of thing that you get from a lot of experience. Hogaboom has been in and out, mostly out as a quarterback in this league.
3rd down and 2. J.T. Smith with another great catch and a first down, getting the Cardinals out of trouble to the 39-yard line. A 19-yard gain. Benny Blades on the stop, and Smith is having a tremendous afternoon.
Well, what he gives Hogaboom is a real safety blanket here. Nice little pick play by the Cardinals as JT gets off inside. This is a great catch, but this is what I like at the very end. He goes head-to-head with Benny Blades and gets the best of it. 33 years old going against a 22-year-old. That's being a real pro.
8 catches for 102 yards today by J.T. Smith. First and 10 at the 39 for the Cardinals. Hogaboom has Wolfley, and he is down just short of the 45-yard line as time is running out here in the third quarter. An electrifying third quarter provided by Barry Sanders, the Heisman Trophy winner, who in his NFL debut after signing just the other day scored his first touchdown to give the Lions a lead.
Hogaboom continues to impress me, Dick, because he had a terrible start of this game, missed his first 4, and he's hit almost everything in sight since.
They get off one more play. Stump Mitchell gets into Lion territory and has a first down as the third quarter ends. And that is the end of the third quarter with a score. The Detroit Lions 10, the Phoenix Cardinals 6. We now pause for a word from your local station. Field goal by Ed Murray and Barry Sanders' touchdown run to score it. Meanwhile, a first down for the Cardinals on the Lion 49. Gary Hogaboom up the middle, and J.T. Smith finally doesn't catch one. He's been tremendous all afternoon.
I get a feeling that JT realized that if he makes this grab, he's got some room to run with it afterwards. Sometimes even the old pros take their eye off the ball at the last second. He might have been guilty of that time.
But as a former quarterback, we're all impressed with what Barry Sanders has done to light up the crowd. But Gary Hogaboom has stayed cool, calm. I mean, we have not had a turnover or an interception by him or by the Lions either.
I'm really impressed with the way he's responded to the challenge.
Cincinnati leading Chicago. Tampa Bay had that lead narrowed by Green Bay in the fourth. Second down 10. Stump Mitchell gets a big hole and lost his footing and is short of a first down by less than 2 yards. Mitchell at 30 years of age, and Dan talked about his shoulder surgery, and still the chief back along with Ferrell, but certainly a team that without great speed in the backfield.
What they have, though, is a really a never say die attitude. You saw Mitchell crawling for that extra yard, knowing where the chains were, how much he needed to get it, doing everything in his power to get it. He also stepped out of a pretty good tackle by Michael Kofer there. Mitchell may not have the speed he once had, but he still has the quickness, and that's more important.
No one really criticizes the Cardinal offense generally. Pretty potent. 3rd and 3. Crowd waving the white handkerchiefs. And a timeout called by the Cardinals. That's their first timeout, so each team has 2 timeouts remaining. And Hogaboom goes to the sidelines. Is 10-6 in favor of the Lions in the first minute of the fourth quarter. And Dan, a lot of electricity here, but the Cardinals seem to me to still be the calm machine offense here.
Well, they're a veteran team. They've got a lot of pride in that team. You know, that offensive line is a tight-knit group. Hogaboom is really doing the job, though.
But Barry Sanders did the job, and he scored on a 3-yard run, but this was his big run of the drive.
First carry as an NFL player, 18 yards, might have gone farther, but he really set the tone for that scoring drive.
3rd down and 3. A couple of guys knocked down, and a few of the Cardinals not liking it very much. Derek Kennard, the center, was hit by Lawrence Pete, the rookie.
Encroachment, the 62. First down.
You know why they call this encroachment instead of offsides? Because of the contact. And there was some contact there. Defense came across. Lawrence Pete.
They called it on Curtis Green. There is Pete, who was rookie out of Nebraska in the 5th round. Nebraska has supplied a lot of linemen in the NFL. First down and 3 following the penalty. Make it First and 10 at the 42. Hogaboom. Ewald wide open inside the 20 and a Cardinal first down. The Cardinals are moving now. James Griffin making the stop as Ewald, one of the better receiving tight ends, got open.
You know what I like about Ewald is he catches the ball with his hands away from his body, very much like a guy I played with who also wore number 80, Kellen Winslow. A lot of confidence in their hands. What that does is it cuts down the amount of time the ball is in the air, even by a split second. Sometimes the difference between a completion and an incompletion.
That was a 19-yard gain. Cardinals on the 18 of the Lions, first down. Mitchell, with a little hesitation, fights his way to the 15. And Dennis Gibson making the stop for the Lions. And by the way, we saw Ewald, who had injured ribs. They thought that he was going to wear a flak jacket, does not have one on.
Tough guy. Tight ends got to be tough. They got a lot of different jobs they got to do out there. They got to block against these big linebackers like Kofor, and they got to go down the field and make catches. And Ewald, as you said, Dick, is one of the best in the league, and it's only his third year.
And they're well stocked with Jay Novacek backing him up, and they have a rookie, Walter Reeves, who's impressive out of Auburn. So 3 tight ends now for the Cardinals. Second down and 7. Hogaboom. And no flag, incomplete. Pass was intended for Roy Green. And it was Griffin defending on the play.
We're going to see a little bit of contact here from Griffin and Green, but this ball is uncatchable. So ruled by the referee, or it was incidental contact. Both men just got tangled up there. That's why that one was incomplete.
And of course the rule is, and a lot of people always complain and may not understand it, but if the defensive man is going for the ball, you can have that contact.
He's got as much right as the offensive player to the ball.
Third down and 7 on the 15. Hogaboom gets a rush. Green is there. He's got it. Touchdown, Cardinals. And Gary Hogaboom really showed the Phoenix fans and his teammates something in the face of a big rush. He found Roy Green, who beat his man for the touchdown. It was Jerry Woods defending on the play.
Great job of knowing the blitz is coming by the 2 safeties right up the middle. Wolfley picks up 1, but James Griffin is free on the quarterback. That looks a lot like Neil Lomax to me. That's the type of play that he's made many, many times. Roy Green getting around Jerry Woods for the touchdown.
Al Del Greco looking to give the Cardinals a 3-point lead early here in this 4th quarter. Holding is Hogaboom. The kick is good, and it's now 13-10 in favor of the Phoenix Cardinals. Roy Green has made a living out of catching the big one.
Pure.
Neil Lomax, and of course the silver stretch offense for the Lions. Al Del Greco kicking off. Mel Gray at the 5. Changes direction beautifully and is ridden out of bounds by Jay Taylor.
We're going to take a look at the touchdown to Roy Green on the chalkboard. This is Bruce McNorton on the blitz, and this is James Griffin on the blitz. Watch Wolfley come in, pick up one of them. But Griffin is free on the quarterback, and Hogaboom just does a super job of laying this one out for Roy Green, Mr. Reliable, in the end zone.
There's Roy Green with a 15-yard touchdown reception. Both Green and Smith over 30 years of age and still great threats as wideouts for the Cardinals. First and 10 at the 34. Barry Sanders in the game at running back for the Lions, who now trail by 3. Inside handoff to Mel Gray. Gray gets beyond the 40. First time that play has been run today, and a pickup of nearly 5 yards.
Once a fellow like Gray and Sanders gets comfortable with this offense, with their ability to run with the ball in the open field, there's going to be a lot of excitement generated by this run and shoot.
Bob Galliano is going to be getting married soon. This is a big time for him, with a chance to lead the Lions. Second down and 4 at the 41 of the line. Sanders. Here he goes. And pushed out of bounds by Mack. 26 yards that time for Barry Sanders.
Cardinals have done a great job of stopping the run up in the middle, but they haven't faced this type of speed. Sanders wanted to go inside, bounces it out to the outside. There's no contain, and then watch his speed getting down the sidelines. This tells me that he did a great job of preparing himself physically for this season. I mean, he's been out of camp, only has had one practice in a mini camp back a couple of months ago. He looks in great shape.
He has averaged 11 yards per carry in his first game, first time in pads. Tony Page replaces him in the backfield. 1st and 10 on the Cardinal 34. Galliano completes to Robert Clark. Clark inside the 25 has another first down. Defending was Carl Carter and Jay Taylor.
You know, they wanted to set up the run with the pass. That's the premise for this run and shoot. But what they're doing today is very traditional football. They're running the ball well first, and now Galliano's completing a couple of passes.
Which is what's interesting about the formation, because you think they're going to throw to set up the run, and they go the traditional way, but you still have those 2 wide outs and the 2 slot men.
And it's still superior personnel that makes the difference, and that's Barry Sanders.
1st and 10 at the 23. 3 seconds on the clock. They better hurry. And he just got it off in time. The pitch to Page. Inside the 20. Inside the 10. Another Lion first down. It was Carl Carter and Tim McDonald that time. 14 more yards.
Now this is an audible by Galliano. He sent about 4 guys in motion. This is just the old option play. Takes a great lick from Freddie Joe Nunn. But then it's all Tony Page stepping up inside and taking this ball down inside the 10. Great audible call, though, by Galliano that time. Saw the weakness in the defense and got the right play call.
3 straight first downs by the Lions. Sanders is back in there. 1st and goal at the 9. Here's Sanders, and Clasby grabs a hold of him and doesn't let go as Sanders gets to the 5, a gain of 4. We have not had this kind of excitement here in years. Lions have had a rich football tradition. They've also had their bottomless well moments. They're coming off one of those, but they're definitely coming off for sure.
Well, the owner is standing up giving an ovation, a standing ovation to one of his ball players. You don't see that very often in the NFL. His money, Mr. Ford's money, is well spent, I gotta believe.
Reviving the thrills that Billy Sims gave these fans. Sims wore the same number, of course. 2nd down. Sanders. He'll lose this time. And great pursuit by the Cardinals. Tim McDonald coming up from strong safety. And that'll be 3rd down and goal. And McDonald, who had a rough start. He came from the West Coast, wasn't happy to be drafted by the Cardinals, broke his ankle in his first year, and has come to enjoy his status as the best player in the secondary on this team.
And captain of the defensive football team, an honor voted by his teammates. Only his 3rd year. That's a great honor.
3rd and goal at the 6. They spread the offense. Clark wide to the right. Galliano to Clark. Incomplete. Good coverage that time by Jay Taylor. Rookie from San Jose State. He was all over Robert Clark. That'll bring up 4th down, and Eddie Murray will come in to try to tie the game.
Jay Taylor's the shortest of the Phoenix defensive backs at 5'9". Clark not much taller at 5'11", but that's wonderful coverage. Oh, you just can't get any better than that.
So Arnold will be holding for Murray, who kicked a 30-yard field goal to give the Lions their initial lead of the game. This is to tie. And the kick is good. 23-yard field goal by Ed Murray. He was called Ed in college. Now they call him Eddie. Normally they go the other way around. In any event, we have a 13-13 game.
great number of years also. It's unusual for a kicker to stay with the same team for a long time, and Eddie Murray, you know, he's been here a bunch of years.
Yes, Rich Camarillo and those people.
Yeah.
By Sikahema on the 6. Out past the 25 to the 28-yard line. Victor Jones. Earl Farrell on crutches with a sprained ankle. Came out of the game in the second quarter, Dan.
You know, you look at a guy's face and you can pretty much tell when they're getting taped up or something on the sidelines or getting looked at by the doctors and trainers. You can tell by looking at the expression on a player's face that just how he's feeling, and that didn't look very good for Earl Farrell.
Benny Blades went out of the game, had x-rays on his neck with the collision with J.T. Smith. He has made 10 tackles in this game. Lions are pleased he's back in there. First down on the 28. Play fake. Intercepted by William White. Lions ball. It was off Awalt's hand. And William White with the first turnover of the game.
Hogeboom throws this ball behind Awalt. He wanted to get it to him right now, but White had good coverage. Now he just gets it behind him a little bit too much, and that's really just being unlucky. You've heard of interceptions that are unlucky, but Awalt, if he wasn't trying very hard, that ball wouldn't have been intercepted. He could have just let it go by, and there would have been no interception. But he was trying to make the catch, tipped it up in the air, and White was there for the pick.
First career interception. Hogeboom threw it, and William White made it. He replaces Devon Mitchell, the free safety who was let go by the Lions. First and 10 on the Lion 48. Barry Sanders, the running back. Play fake. Freddie Joe Nunn giving chase. Galliano is pushed out of bounds at the 49 of the Cardinals. We have 7:46 remaining in the fourth quarter here at the Silverdome. Both teams are aching for a victory on opening day. The Cardinals, after having lost their last 5 last year, after they were in first place, and the Lions, who are trying to restore the roar, and they've done that today.
And I keep getting the feeling from the Cardinals is that what's going to happen to us next? They've lost 3 games in the preseason on the very last play of each of those games. And now they're in a real dogfight now. The game is tied. The Lions have got momentum. They got Barry Sanders in there. The Cardinals have got to be wondering a little bit about their own fortunes.
And the Lions also have Eddie Murray.
And a timeout for the Lions. Again, down on that 30-second clock.
Second timeout.
And that can be tough in a
40-second timeout.
close game. The Lions now have only 1 timeout left, and in a close game, you never want to be left with just one. Coming up next on CBS Sports, it's the men's final of the U.S. Open Tennis Championship. Top-seeded Ivan Lendl against Boris Becker, the second-seeded player. 1 against 2. That's the way it should be.
Well, that's good seeding, isn't it? I mean, the guys that make the seeds, they picked it right this time. Should be an outstanding final.
Becker has always had problems on the U.S. Open court. Lendl has always dominated there, but we'll see what happens today. San Francisco in front. Rams have stretched their lead against Atlanta. Cincinnati and Chicago, anyone's game in the third quarter at Soldier Field, and a close one in Lambeau Field.
A lot of good games so far today. A lot of excitement around the league.
By the way, we understand the Cowboys have gained only 8 yards rushing through 3 quarters.
Where's Herschel?
They're really relying on Troy's arm today, huh? Second down and 7 on the Cardinal 49. I wonder whether they're going to call Jason Phillips for throwing the Cardinals offside.
I think that our center, Kevin Glover, down there for the Lions, didn't snap the ball when he was supposed to. He had everybody moving except the ball to the quarterback.
False start on the center.
That's it.
Second down, number 53.
You got it.
How can they call false start when he's the only guy that didn't start, though?
He would say it's a true start. It's the only one.
Yeah, I got the ball, fellas. When I hike the ball, then we play. But nobody's going anywhere till I hike.
10 penalties assessed against the Lions.
I used to just tell the center, bend over and shut up.
Well, you could do it. You backed it up.
Sometimes.
Second down, 12 now. Back to the 46 of the Lions. Barry Sanders. What impressed me on that run is the way he protected the ball. The Cardinals were trying to jar it loose. Ken Harvey made the stop at the 47 of Phoenix.
We talked about Sanders' thighs. Well, he's got great strength in those thighs. Watch him pull out of this tackle from Freddie Joe Nunn. Great cutback, and now the strength of those big thighs pulls away from one of the better tacklers and better athletes in the game.
He has carried 8 times for 66 yards and has outgained the entire Phoenix rushing core. And we're talking about some heavy hitters in Farrell and Mitchell. 3rd and 4. Galliano with time. And the pass is dropped by Jason Phillips, the rookie from Houston. And that'll bring up 4th down. The look says it all for Galliano.
Well, it really does. 3rd down, you've got to convert it. It's not that easy to do. You got to get great pass protection for your quarterback. Quarterback's got to read the defense and deliver the ball. The receiver's job, simple. Catch it. Lions having trouble doing that today.
Jim Arnold will be kicking it away with exactly 7 minutes to go. By Sikahema goes deep. Here's Jim Arnold. Both punters have been superb this afternoon. Camarillo in his debut with the Cardinals. And Arnold. Good kick, high kick. That's what he wanted. But the Lions can't keep it in bounds as the ball bounds away. A 46-yard kick, and Arnold didn't like the way that rolled. Well, Saturday kicks off another season of college football action on CBS Sports. Boy, 2 teams that scored tremendous upsets and victories in their first game.
Well, Jeff George really led the Illini back against USC with 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns. But Colorado looks like they're back as a force in the Big 8.
With Oklahoma and Oklahoma State currently on probation, the Buffaloes will battle Nebraska perhaps for a Big 8 Orange Bowl ticket. So college football action starts at 2:30 Eastern next Saturday here on CBS Sports. See what Gary Hogeboom and the Cardinals do. It's 6:48 to go in the 4th. Snump Mitchell gets ahead of steam and rambles out beyond the 30 for a 1st down. Tackled by Jimmy Williams, the linebacker. That's a good start for Phoenix.
Well, Phoenix would like nothing more than about a 6-minute drive here of 80 yards. Use up all the clock, get their kicker either in field goal range or take it all the way in.
Gene Stallings is a ball control coach, even though he knows he has 2 outstanding wide receivers. 1st down and 10 at the 31. Mitchell again. And he powers out for 5 more yards to the 36-yard line. That time it was Keith Ferguson, the defensive end.
What Stallings has done is he's told the offensive line, hey, listen, I'm going to trust you guys to win this ball game for us right now. We're not going to do anything fancy. We may throw a few possession type of passes, but it's up to you guys on 1st down to get me 5 or 6 yards. And they're running left behind Todd Pete and Luis Sharp.
2nd down and 5 at the 36. Fake and Hogeboom under pressure completes to Ewald. And Ewald is hung up by Griffin, won't get to midfield, but has more than enough for a 1st down for the Cardinals. A gain of 12 yards. Ewald has been open on virtually every occasion this afternoon, has 4 catches for 65 yards.
And he really showed me that he's a heady ball player also. He knows that at this point they do not want to run out of bounds and stop that clock. They want to keep that clock rolling. And right now they're about at the 5-minute mark. He knew he had enough for the 1st down. No need to struggle for more yards. It's more important to let the clock run out now.
And hold on to the ball. 1st down for the Cardinals on their 48. Benny Blades, by the way, is out of the game again. James Griffin has been in there. Quick toss to Roy Green, incomplete, and he was hit hard by Holmes. It'll bring up 2nd down.
Well, one thing you can't do as a quarterback is hesitate on a quick hitch to the outside like that. Holmes got the read on Hogeboom, and he almost came up with the interception there.
With Terry Taylor acquired from Seattle to shore up the cornerback position for the Lions, Holmes moved from left to the right side. William White, who has the only interception of the game, and so it looks like the Lions secondary, anchored by Benny Blades, who's out of action right now, has been improved. Time remaining. Hogaboom, Roy Green dropped it. He looked like one of the Lion receivers there, one of the young ones.
Now it appears that Hogaboom may have thrown this ball into coverage, but it was right on the money. The receiver, of course, has got to make this grab. It's a double zone to this side, but Green did a nice job of getting inside, and Hogaboom throws a wonderful pass. That should have been caught.
Taylor, part of that coverage.
He's looking for the ball. It ain't in your hands, Terry. I know that for a fact.
3rd down and 10. Cardinals on their 48. Novacek in motion. Hogaboom's pass knocked away, and a great defensive play by James Griffin. James Griffin broke it open, and Hogaboom had his man. Ernie Jones, the intended receiver, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Defensive backs must run in the Griffin family. James's brother is Don for the 49ers, so we've got some talented brothers there in that family.
Rich Camarillo will kick for the 4th time. Mel Gray goes deep for the Lions. Good kick. Fair catch. Gray fields it at the 9. So with 4:25 remaining in this 4th quarter, the Lions and the Silver Stretch come out for what could be one last shot to try to get Eddie Murray in position to win or even score a touchdown. It's been back and forth like a chess game.
Back and forth. We just had the feeling after Awalt's reception there that the Cardinals were in great shape. They were at midfield. They only needed to go maybe 20 yards or so to get Del Greco in field goal range. They didn't get it done because the Lions came up with some big plays defensively.
Galliano, looking at those numbers, is still only 2 of 10 since the 1st quarter.
But I got to wonder how many balls has he had dropped today? Quite a few.
Plenty. 1st and 10 on the 9-yard line.
That's a half a wave.
Those kids can move up. There's some empty seats. Join the crowd. Here's Gray on the inside handoff. Freddie Joe Nunn slowed him up, and the rest of them clamped down in a gain of about a yard that time. Nunn first, and then it was Jim Waller, the rookie from UCLA. Remember, the Lions have only 1 timeout left.
Freddie Joe Nunn used to play linebacker before they converted him. There he is, number 78 on the left side of the screen in a stand-up position. He's going to just get a little piece of towel here. That's all he gets from Mel Gray. But he's really having a heck of a workout this afternoon trying to stop some of these fellas.
That's all he wanted.
Look at the blue paint on top of his helmet. You know he's been in there head knocking.
2nd down and 8. Ball at the 11. Galliano's pass. Incomplete. It was intended for Troy Johnson. So it's 3rd down and 11. So Wayne Fonts has a problem here. Bad field position. 3rd down, and could be looking at the Cardinals getting the ball around midfield if he doesn't get it here.
Yeah, they have done well, though, throughout the game in 3rd down situations. In fact, it seemed like in that first drive that they had, that was the only play that they were successful on. This, to say the least, is the biggest 3rd down play they'll have all day.
Time remaining, 3:37. Harvey is showing blitz. Barry Sanders leaps the line, and he's going to be short of a 1st down as he stopped at the 15. It was Cedric Mack who came up from cornerback to make the tackle. So it'll be 4th down with the clock running, nearly 3 minutes to go. Barry Sanders with a touchdown and the longest run of the day in his debut. But the Lions now have to think of stopping the Cardinals. Jim Arnold will kick from the goal line, and Vi Sikahema goes back. Arnold is, well, look at the numbers. 52-yard average. Only 2 punts. No, he's had more than 2. We'll check it. There's another beauty. Fair catch called for by Sikahema at the 45 of Phoenix, but it's good field position. Another great kick by Jim Arnold. 13-13 in the 4th quarter. The Cardinals looking to win it here with 2:45 remaining, and they have 2 timeouts remaining. We'll bring you up to date on other scores around the league, and this is the first weekend of the NFL season.
What a game there. You got to wonder about the Dallas Cowboys under their new coach. Still looking for their first score.
San Francisco, the defending champions. That was a tough opener against the Colts, and it's still up for grabs. Meanwhile, it's first down for the Cardinals on their 45. Pitch to Stump Mitchell. Stop for no gain.
Well, both teams have become real conservative in this fourth quarter now. Not willing to throw the ball down the field. Looking for field position. Looking to work on that clock now.
Second down and 10.
Hogaboom's going to milk every bit of this 30-second clock now. In fact, he's going to let it run down to the 2-minute warning.
Nothing more than Gary Hogaboom with his college friends would like today than to engineer a victory in his first start with the Cardinals. He's a native of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Went to Central Michigan before he was drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. And the 2-minute warning. And there's the section where the Hogaboom crowd is hoping he can pull out a victory. The 45-yard line, their own 45. Keep in mind that Al Del Greco's career long field goal, 51 yards. So you would have to figure he needs 21 yards to set that situation up.
And he hasn't done very well this preseason. 0 for 3 from 40 yards and longer.
He's 2 for 2 today, but they were short ones. Second down and 10 at the 45. Hogaboom completes to Smith to midfield. It'll create a 3rd and 5 now.
The other problem facing the Lions at this time, if they do get the ball back, and when they get the ball back, they will only have one timeout to work with.
Gary Hogaboom, we talked to his dad yesterday when we went over to the Cardinals hotel.
Well, we saw all the fans in the stands. He's the first guy I've ever heard of getting a standing ovation in a hotel lobby. There were that many people waiting for him when he got to the hotel yesterday.
That's right. We had to run out of our room to see. Third down and 4. Big play. Hogaboom completes it to J.T. Smith, and a first down for the Cardinals to the Lion 35. A big pass on third down. Dennis Gibson on the stop. The clock will run down to a minute to go, and J.T. Smith with a 15-yard gain, having a brilliant opening contest of the year with 10 catches for 121 yards.
And Wayne Fonts told us that he wasn't worried about J.T. Smith beating him because he's going to get his receptions. Well, I got news for Coach Fonts. Right now, J.T. Smith is the guy responsible for the situation we're in now.
First and 10 on the 35. Stump Mitchell gets a couple. And it was Jimmy Williams who got him from behind. Now with 29 seconds to go, the Cardinals will use one of their 2 remaining timeouts.
They got some talking to do on that sidelines. We've got to get a little bit closer, they got to be telling themselves. They got to get Del Greco comfortably another 10 yards or so.
Right now it would be a 50-yard attempt. And we told you that his longest in history was 51, but you don't want to just play it through as long as you like to give him a little bit better opportunity here.
Yeah, you don't want to hit that 2-iron to the green. You want to, take the wedge out or something. Give me a chip shot.
There is Del Greco, who is working with Camarillo. Hogaboom has been his holder throughout this afternoon, and for Wayne Fonts, he would like to keep the Cardinals right where they're at.
That's fingernail time for Wayne Fonts. He knows that the clock is against him, that it's up to his defense, the defense he was once the coordinator of, to stop the Cardinals.
It was a field goal battle at the half, 6-3 in favor of the Cardinals. Barry Sanders scored a touchdown to give the Lions a 10-6 lead, and then Roy Green on a 15-yard touchdown reception gave Phoenix a 3-point lead before Eddie Murray tied it up, and that's where we're at. Second down and 8 on the Lion 33. Hogaboom under some pressure completes to Wolfley out of the backfield. He stays in bounds, and Wolfley gets inside the 15 and close to the 10-yard line. The stop made by Jerry Holmes, and a big play there by Hogaboom. Found the man out of the backfield for 22 yards.
Well, they went from the 2-iron to the wedge. They're in great shape now. William White, number 35, comes within a fingernail of knocking this ball down. But Wolfley makes the grab, stays in bounds, and gets as much as he can, covers up the ball, and now the Cards are in great shape.
A timeout has been called by Phoenix. And it's a 40-second injury timeout, and it's a charge timeout in the last 2 minutes. Is that right? I believe so.
Yes, it is. But all that really matters is that the Cardinals have got Del Greco in position where he's got a field goal of about, 20 yards or so, huh? Maybe 30.
Well, he has kicked 2 today from 29 and 23 yards. There's Gene Stallings, protege of Tom Landry at Dallas. His buddy Landry is gone from the seam now. Nothing fancy, that's for sure. It'll be 1st and 10.
This man feels every loss, every win. I mean, this is a coach that the old emotions are on the sleeve.
Remember last year when Butler kicked the field goal for the Bears to beat him in the
at Soldier Field? Yeah, he was on one knee. Head sinks into his hands. He's got that sinking feeling right now as Del Greco's going for the winner.
28-yard attempt. Hogaboom will hold. 17 seconds to go. And now Hogaboom is running in, yelling for time. A delay of the game penalty. But Gary Hogaboom is steamed.
Well, I'm not sure that they gave him enough warning that the clock was running down, or that the clock was started at the proper time. But this changes things a bit. This moves it back 5 yards. This is no longer that chip shot. Del Greco's got to drive it through from 33 now. Interesting that they're going for the field goal with 17 seconds left to go.
Perfect from that distance a year ago. The game on the line. And the kick is good, and the Cardinals have taken the lead. 33-yard field goal by Al Del Greco, and Phoenix jumps in front 16-13 on Al Del Greco's 3rd field goal of the game. And what's left for Wayne Fonts and the Detroit Lions? 13 seconds left.
This answers a few questions I had, and I'm sure that the Cardinals ball players and their staff had about Gary Hogaboom. We talked about, well, can he lead them from behind? That's what he did. He led them on this drive while the score was still tied. But in effect, that's as much as being behind as you can get. And it's down in position for the winning field goal. Great pass to Wolfley. Hogaboom had an outstanding day.
And you know what? He didn't play. He played within himself. He didn't try to extend, even though he has some wide receivers. It was a very controlled offensive attack by Hogaboom, and you have to execute. Here is the field goal that gives the Cardinals the lead.
Good snap, perfect hold by Hogaboom, and Del Greco drives it through, and he made his coach a very happy man.
Gene Stallings, and he can talk all he wants about who cares about last year's 5-game losing streak at the end. Everyone thinks about it and knows about it, and nothing will erase it better than a victory here in this opener.
And the only time he ever thought about it is when people like us have kept reminding him of it.
Just 5 times yesterday.
They may be 1-0 now.
Del Greco will kick off, and Mel Gray, who's dangerous, will be back for the Lions. 13 seconds remain. Cardinals 16, the Lions 13. There's Gray. Well, he's going to give a chance. This is going to be Woods at the 7. Fumbles. Cardinals may have it. They do. Fumble. And the Phoenix Cardinals have recovered at the 21-yard line as Jerry Woods, rookie from Northern Michigan, fumbles the kickoff. And the hit made by Eric Hill, the #1 pick by the Cardinals. And that is all she wrote. And for the Phoenix Cardinals, a hard, tough victory, but it'll be a victory on the road. And coming up next, it'll be Yvonne Lendl and Boris Becker in the men's final of the U.S. Open. 8 seconds remain, and they'll just run it out. And Dan, the Lions have restored the roar. Barry Sanders is going to bring people back to this place for sure.
Yes, he has. And this was a hard-fought victory for the Phoenix Cardinals.
But it's a victory in a tough division, well earned. And Gary Hogeboom, a star today.
He really was. He performed when he had to, brought the Cardinals to a point where they won the game.
Well, he did it in front of the home folks. Not quite perhaps in Grand Rapids, but he did it. Barry Sanders with a sterling debut, but it's the Phoenix Cardinals who defeat the Detroit Lions 16-3.